me, the first steps I take to learn a new track is really just watching videos, whether that's previous races or if you're lucky enough to watch some onboards of the type of car that you're driving, even if it's not the type of car, just some sort of onboard from that track.
I mean, these days there's so many videos online to kind of learn a new track, and different cars, different drivers. You can learn, a lot of different things from, practice sessions, qualifying sessions, races. You can learn where to pass, where to defend, and then the general line and break points. And then when you jump into sim, you at least have that in the back of your mind of what it kind of looks like. Are you approaching a fifth gear corner? Are you approaching a first gear corner? So you're not just flying off the track those first couple laps. It just, for me, it always makes it a little bit easier to kind of have those references before I jump into the simulator.
In the past, maybe when you arrive in the new track, you didn't have simulator, you didn't have anything that really, it was a lot more tough to study the track before you go into the track. Maybe the feeling is different when you go in the reality, with the car compared to the simulator. But you know where you need to turn, the braking point, the everything else. So I think now is much, much easier for the young guys, to learn the tracks compared to how it was in the past.
Yeah, simulator helps. It helps speed up the process of learning a new track. So that's why, in today we have the simulators to use as a tool, and to learning tracks is perfect.
So often you're struggling to understand what the next corner is. Do I need to sacrifice a corner exit here to prepare better for this type of corner? Do I need to be cautious of a bump at the apex of this corner? Those are things you can't necessarily see on a video, but you can feel in a sim.
But the actual race car is always a different thing, so you can only learn so much in a simulator. Then you need to sort of get in the real thing to get the complete sort of feeling.
If I look at too much video and get any preconceived ideas of what the car's actually going to feel like, if it doesn't feel that way or feel how I thought I looked like in that video, in the video that I watched, I find I'm behind the eight ball, and I'm in a bit of a no man's land in some ways. Particularly iRacing is very good for learning just the track itself simply. But you'll find when you get here that the sim doesn't dictate potholes and stuff on the exit of curbs that can make your tires flat or something like that.
Now, when you walk the track, obviously you've watched videos, you've done simulator time, so it's kind of picking up on those references that you've seen in the sim or on the videos and making sure they're there in real life, or if they've moved. If you had a break point, a reference that was on the simulator, it's going to be different in real life. You want to make sure before you got on track that first time that, maybe my brake marker was at the 300 and maybe now that 300 has been adjusted, or this line or this access road is maybe a little bit different visually from the simulator to the real life. So you just want to kind of confirm what you learned beforehand so that when you do go on track, you don't get, caught off guard.
Little bumps, looking at the tire marks where there's less contact being through the braking zones. You can see the bumps with the tire marks and the rubber building up. Equally, how big curbs are, what position you could position the car for that.
Especially on street courses for me, the way they lay out the track, the way that the circuit has evolved from year to year can always change.
You can sometimes be caught out too, especially on street courses when you do, your track walk. It could have changed before you get into your session, so you've got to be very careful of that. We've had that a few times, especially at Long Beach in the past, and it's caught people out and put them in the fence. So just take it easy on the outlap.
But I think the best thing with track walks is you're away from trucks, you're away from phones, you're away from mechanics, you're just with your engineers, and you're actually fundamentally talking about how you're going to extract the most amount of performance out of the weekend. And I think that's a key point of it, just feeling your way around that.
The first few laps on a new track, it's just experimenting. You obviously don't want to crash the car, but it's okay to overstep a little bit, maybe drop some wheels, brush up against the wall. You're just trying to use the experience of, okay, I know I can't brake here. I know I can't carry that corner speed. I know I can't use that curb. So you have to do a little bit of trial and error, but within the boundaries of protecting the equipment.
So I'll play around with a lot of different lines. You always try and always go and have a look at what other classes are running, where the grip is, where you can see the grip. Are people running a car without, just to get a little bit of grip on their tire or whatnot? Your freedom is so much to just play with it, play with the car, play with the track, and see where we end up.
Before a race, we have usually a warm-up session in the car, and then I always try and different lines, alternate lines to simulate race situations, go on the inside, go on the outside, to just learn and build up some references for the actual race.
You should be able to learn the majority of it pretty happily and have a good balance idea in the first 10 laps. If it's anything longer than that, then you're fighting a little bit. And some corners you may just not get it right, you know, until you look at the data, until you look at maybe a teammate's video. You know, the process is very different for everybody else, and it may be a natural corner that they just had the ability for. So that's the fun part after the session, but you should be up to speed relatively quickly.